Yo, call me Seaman Sunday the way I walk on that runway. Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the Gamescom. Today, and only today, we are here to really sit down and have a proper conversation about how Sonic Frontiers Update 3, The Last Horizon, is going to be a game changer. And of course, if you like the content and want to see more, please subscribe to your boy. I want to reach 50K by the end of the summer. Please, 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 please. Thank you. Now, let's get right into this. So obviously, we had the Gamescom event, where we were expecting just the Superstars trailer, but we were hit with the surprise of the Sonic Frontiers The Last Horizon update, which I think this is a big deal because I really do believe, I was actually saying that, there was some people telling me that what if they showed the last update at Gamescom, and I was kind of shutting it down because I was like, I feel like that's a thing, that's going to be big for Sonic fans, but it's not something, that's like big stage with. But the fact that they brought that to the stage with a CG trailer, it tells me update 3 really is going to be a much bigger deal than even we think. Now, actually, if you look at the JP account for Sonic, it does say added scenarios and playable characters. Look forward to new adventures on Uranus Island, apparently, but Uranus, obviously known to all of us, which is the last island of the game. So right away, a big piece of info there is this is mainly going to take place on the final island. And we also know, based on, the end title screen of, the trailer, that it's going to be obviously new playable characters, which we knew, new story, which we knew, but it also says new challenges. And I wonder what new challenges are, gonna be. Is it gonna be new stuff to do on Uranus? Is it gonna be like the Coco challenge, where there's something to do on every island? Is there gonna be new music to collect? Like, the word new challenges could mean anything. It's a very broad statement, but I'm guessing it's just new activities and things to do on the island. I do hope it's across every island. I love when the game has given us an excuse to go to all the islands in the last 2 DLCs, so I would love something like that. But honestly, like, this update really seems to be titled, not titled, but like positioned as a rewrite of the ending. And I know there are leaks out there that have a lot of answers to these questions, but I'm just going off, what I really think is gonna go down. Because it's funny, we were so, mentally shook by the fact that we got a new supersonic form that, like, we almost have forgotten how exciting this is gonna be, that we're gonna be able to play as Knuckles, Amy, and Tails in this story, which is the first time they're going to be, playable in a mainline Sonic game, in like a story game since what, like 06 maybe, which is insane. It's been so long. So to see the gang finally have, some time here is going to be awesome. And again, I'm wondering really how big of a deal these 3 characters are going to be. Like, how intricate are their movesets going to be? Like, how many skill moves are there going to be? Are we going to be able to, play their scenarios on different islands? Is their gameplay going to be mainly on Uranus, and we're going to have a bunch of challenges there? Like, I wonder how they're going to sort of, decide how the characters are playable. And is it gonna be like, I can freeform switch between Knuckles, Amy, Tails whenever? Is it a scenario with each of them and they get certain dialogues? Like, that's stuff that I'm so curious to see. But because I feel like they're gonna want to incentivize you to play, the 3 characters. So what I'm guessing is that, maybe it's going to be that this takes place after Rhea Island, when they are freed from cyberspace, and maybe we get to see what happens when, like, that in-between time between Rhea and Uranus, or what they're doing, within Sonic, because I'm pretty sure at the end of Rhea Island, they restore Sonic, and we don't see them until the end of the game. And I guess it's going to explain to us what they were doing within that time. Now, keep in mind, things just might be a little different, because if this is going to be a big rewrite of the ending of the game, then some things that we remember from the end of the last game aren't necessarily going to be the same. In fact, I think that ending of Rhea Island, when, they clear Sonic of the cyber, energy, I don't think that's going to be the same. I'm pretty sure if what we're seeing from this trailer where Supersonic is using the corruption energy, then I don't know if the gang is just gonna, clear him of that the same way it did originally. And also, a big question I have is, how are they gonna handle playing this, right? Like, what if you've beaten the game? Are you gonna have a menu prompt that says, like, hey, new chapter, like new story ending type beat that you select from a file? Is it gonna give you like a save file that starts from where the story stuff happens? Is it a thing you're gonna have to, play the game again to get this moment? I doubt that, but I'm just wondering how they're gonna handle you accessing this, DLC. And I'm guessing it's gonna be, some kind of menu button that you push, or maybe a toggle, like maybe you turn on a toggle in the settings to, DLC story or new story, and that way you can choose for the original ending or this, new ending. But I do want this ending to be, the canon real one, and I think that's what it's gonna be. Like, I do want this to be what the team really wanted to accomplish with this, because from what we're seeing here with what's going on even with Supreme, it's gonna be a big deal, because Supreme looks like he's gotten a massive overall. I mean, we're talking about a guy who had, you know, like 2 little stubby arms that just kind of looked like Giganto 2.0 to now, you know, just having like this giant back with a bunch of arms and just looking a bit more menacing. And one thing I adored about the trailer is it took place in this sort of sunset time, and I really hope that this is in the game. You know, I'm hoping that this is gonna be like when they get to that moment where they have to fight Supreme, that it is a sunset, you know, the gang comes together, yeah, and it's more of a, dude, a supersonic fight in the sunset would be phenomenal, right? And obviously I haven't even gotten to Supersonic 2 yet or whatever is cooking there, but a fight within that sunset area would be fantastic. And I hope the team has taken the feedback and adds those CG segments in the game, you know, whether it's in a features menu or whether it's within moments that it makes sense. I would love the CG, you know, cutscenes to be baked in the game, because that's always raw. Like, I've always just loved that moment where you almost earn a CG cutscene in the game. And even though games are getting, you know, more and more HD and better where like you don't need that, I think it would be awesome. Now, something I'm guessing is gonna happen in Uranus Island when you're playing as the gang is I think you're gonna have to free Sonic, right? I think what's gonna happen is the same way you had to free the gang, this time you're gonna have to free Sonic. I think there's gonna be a new area in Uranus or something's gonna be very different there where you're gonna be able to collect things to free Sonic. And I think Knuckles is gonna have certain things he's gonna do to free him. Then you're gonna have Amy with certain things to do to free him, and Tails is gonna have some stuff, and they're gonna have some dialogue back and forth together. But I think that's what's gonna happen is I think Sonic's going to be trapped at the end of the last island. You know, he doesn't get freed from the corruption at the end of Rhea. He's trapped, and then the gang has to save him. And once they save him, you know, we can go into the final battle. Again, I don't know how much they're changing. Like, does that mean I do all that on Uranus with the gang and then I have to do the stuff on Uranus with Sonic? I don't know. Like, this is just stuff that's very difficult to tell because it's very rare we've seen a game get a rewrite ending or, you know, an expanded new ending. You know, wow, I know there's some games that have done it, but typically not ones that I've consumed at least. Now, let's talk about the most hype thing that's been going around the internet, Super Sonic 2. I mean, this is such a massive deal, right? We have not had a new form of Sonic, though technically we just recently had one with Sonic Prime, you know, but I'm talking about, you know, mainline game, having a new supersonic form is awesome. And I think what's cool about this form is it respects what the team has wanted, which the team has not wanted to do different forms because they don't want to do the Dragon Ball thing where it feels like they're scaling, you know, and they're like, okay, well, now we need an enemy that matches this new form and an enemy that matches this new form. I think this is a way you keep the raw energy of Supersonic, but probably just expand it a little bit. You know, I think obviously he's got blue eyes. Obviously you can see some cyber corruption around him. You can see some cool little lightning bolts, very Super Saiyan 2, which is why a lot of people are calling him Supersonic 2 in there. But it's very clear that something is going to be powered up about Sonic. I mean, they wouldn't have done the CG that wasn't the case. And I feel like Cyber Sonic was something so many people expected, and the team is clearly taking feedback on that. I think it is safe to say that Supersonic is going to have some crazy new moves, and I would not be shocked if once you beat this DLC with these moves, you can unlock that style of Supersonic and use that, you know, to go back to the other bosses when you do the boss rush, not bomb rush challenge, the boss rush challenge in there, which I think is going to be fucking awesome if that's the case. I just love that nice contrast of like the red with the yellow that's going on with them. Like, I think it's going to be so cool, and I'm guessing, like I said, it's just going to be mainly a few new moves, maybe some crazy finishes. I think they're going to make the Supreme fight just fucking awesome, and I believe Otani also tweeted that he is in the lab cooking, and man, dude, what I would do to get to that Supreme fight and hear Kellen Quinn again. You know, I love I'm Here. I think I'm Here is a great track, but I don't know. I think for whatever they're doing for this new Supreme, I needed to match the levels I felt with stuff like Find Your Flame, Break Through It All, and Undefeatable. I want something that like will make me go crazy when I'm doing that. Now, the big question is, right, what happens with the end? You know, our shoot 'em up ending to the game, right? Is the end gonna take on a different form? We know that everyone sees the end differently differently according, to the lore of the game. So maybe Knuckles sees it differently, Amy, Tails. I don't know if they end up fighting that form as well, but I'm just curious to see how they handle that. Am I gonna get a supersonic fight versus that? Does it say as a shooter? I don't know what's gonna go down with that, but I think the end is most likely going to stay the same. Maybe there's gonna be some differences in dialogue. Maybe there's gonna be an extra segment, where you do the shooter, shmup version of the fight, and then end up punching it a bunch. But keep in mind this, right? I'm guessing this scenario is going to be playable via normal mode as well. I don't think it's going to be locked to hard mode, which is what the end's final form is, locked behind. So I'm very curious to see how they handle the end in normal mode. Or again, maybe you still don't fight the end in normal mode. Maybe it just skips, to the end of the game after you do this rewrite of the Supreme Fight. There's a lot of what ifs here that I just don't know, again, because we don't have it, but I really do think this is going to do a lot. And keep in mind, just like the first two updates, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of cool quality of life updates to the game. And I think the main one at this point they have to address, because they've handled a lot of things like, the momentum and stuff and settings and all that stuff, but I think they need to, let you toggle the parry. I know like the parry has been a big discussion that, hey, you could just hold this forever. I think they just need to give an option where, hey, like parry, infinite parry off, and it just makes it so that it's a 2-second buffer for the parry. That way you actually have to time it. And I think that would go a long way, man. I think a lot of people think that a lot of the challenge of the game is lost because you can hold that parry forever. So I would love something like that in there. Maybe add a new set of moves or two. And I mean, to be fair, they're going to be adding a lot of moves because we're going to have a lot of different playable characters. And I hope to God, I mean, this is the best case scenario, and this makes too much sense to me, that once you beat this, Knuckles, Amy, Tails, you can go and play as them on all the islands. I think that would be really cool. I think it would be cool if you could even play with them in cyberspace, give them full moves there. Like, I think stuff like that to just give you incentive to still go back to the game and check out stuff with them, I think would go a long way. And of course, let me know what you guys think is going to go down with this. My guess, again, is just that this is going to be what the team really wanted to do, because they were pretty open about the fact that they basically ran out of money, by the time this game was ending its development cycle, which is why the ending feels so rushed. Like the last island is just, an extension of Chronos in terms of look. Supreme is such a half-baked fight compared to all the other Titans. It just feels like such a quick ending, for something that is such a game that people love. But I'm so happy that, now we're gonna get a proper ending to the game. We're gonna get these new characters, new scenarios, and it's gonna be I feel like this is really going to cement this game for me as probably my favorite 3D Sonic, and one to remember for the ages. I can't wait. We have so much to talk about and cover once this will be out. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. What do you guys want to see the most? And also, I do hope and think that Super Sonic will be playable in the open zone. I would love if that was just one of the unlockables, like, hey, get a certain rings in the open zone and you can just fly around, have fun with Super Sonic, because at that point the game is done, so let people go wild, go chaotic with it. And please add some costumes to end this off. All right, there's only like 2 costumes in the game, 2-3 costumes. Like, just go crazy, add a bunch, and please add a Dreamcast Sonic costume. That's it. That's all I want. All right, so guys, thank y'all for watching. Let me know what you guys think of the final update and what you would like to see, and of course I'll see you all next time. Peace out.